All right, it's a brand new edition of the RSL Show. Alex Napoles. Carson Lantz is back after taking a week off, and I think you were, chilling on vacation last week or something, man? What's up? Welcome back.
Yes, sir. I went on vacation to Reno, San Fran, Sacramento. And now I'm back. But I'm doing good, Alex. I'm really eager to get back in the soccer mood, and I'm out of the baseball mood. I went to a lot of baseball games, so I need to be back at my sport. But I'm excited for RSL to be back home and watch them in person for the first time in forever. It feels like it's been a long time. But how are you doing, man?
Good, dude. Good. It does feel weird. It feels like Rouse haven't. I mean, because they haven't been home in a really long time. And it's kind of weird that they only played 2 matches in June because there was a couple international breaks and there was the Gold Cup break, where MLS gave the teams a weekend off or so for teams to kind of enjoy the first group stages of the Gold Cup. But now in July, we're going back full swing, man. It's gonna come quick and fast. Rouse have 5 games in the month of July before Leagues Cup. So it'll be fun, man.
Yeah, hopefully we can get some good results from those 5 games leading up to the Club America game, so we don't absolutely get embarrassed by them. So
they need them. They need some good results. Before we jump into Real Lake, though, before we jump into what's going on locally, a lot of things happening in the world of soccer. The Gold Cup, one of those things happening. And this past weekend was a fun one. We got to watch Rubio Rubin and Aaron Herrera, 2 former Real Lake men, eliminate one of the favorites in the tournament in Canada in penalties. And that was a fun watch.
Yeah, it's really interesting. The Rubio Rubin had that one season with RSL where he was just super good, and then after that he just never showed up anymore and just got less and less minutes as the years went by. But no matter how much he's playing, he always shows up for his country. And I mean, I can respect a guy that shows up for his country. You know what I'm saying?
And now he's at Charleston in the USL.
I mean, he's still playing the game he loves. So I mean,
yeah,
props to him. But then Aaron Herrera. I mean, we were just talking about it. Arguably the best defender from DC United.
I would say that he's their best defender for sure.
I mean, and he doesn't seem like he's fallen off from last year. He was an all-star last year. And
yes.
I mean, obviously, I don't think he's an all-star this year, but still very consistent outside back. He just unfortunately plays for a weaker DC United team.
So you have Guatemala taking down Canada. You have the United States advancing against Costa Rica, and that one's big as well, obviously, because you have Diego Luna, who scored his first international goal to tie things up at 1-1. Game goes to full time at 2-2, and then Matt Freese comes up with 3 huge saves in the penalty shootout to put USA through to the next round. They're moving on to the semifinals to take on that Guatemala side.
Hey, that should be a good game. I mean, I'll take it. I just need Diego Luna to keep doing good and doing his thing. I mean, he's showing the USA fan base what us RSL fans have watched for the past 1 year and a half, 2 years.
100%.
And nothing's better for me to see him shine as an MLS player at, I mean, one of the biggest stages for like an MLS guy in the Gold Cup. That's usually like their MLS based guys. And so I think he keeps playing good. He's low-key going to be, maybe not even low-key, high-key, he's a lock for the World Cup squad if he can keep playing good and be healthy.
I think at this point he should be a lock for the World Cup squad.
Even if it's off the bench. I don't see him being a starter. He could be a starter. Yeah.
I don't know what his, obviously, I mean, that's still a year away, and we'd have to wait to see how the rest of the roster shakes out and to see what his contributions would be. But I do fully think that Luna will make that World Cup squad. And if unless he has some dramatic dip in form, I would be I'm going to be very shocked if he doesn't make it to the World Cup squad.
Yeah, and I think Pochettino really likes him a lot too, and a lot of people are starting to like him more and more because, as I said, it's all over social media. Luna plays for the badge, whether it's for RSL or USA.
Yep. So the United States move on. You have Mexico and Honduras playing in the other game of the Gold Cup semifinals. Those ones so at the time of recording, those ones will be tomorrow. Tonight, because this episode will go up Wednesday morning. So We'll see. I'm fully expecting and fully anticipating a USA Mexico final. I'm sure Carson, you could agree, but Honduras and Guatemala, they're not going to go. They're not going to go down without a fight. So I'm excited to watch those games.
Yeah, I mean, I can always anticipate a U.S. Mexico final, and I always look forward to watching it because every time they play each other, it's entertaining and it feels like
Absolutely.
something dramatic happens every single time. So
Absolutely. Other big major tournament happening right now during all this is the Club World Cup. Real Madrid earlier today getting a 1-0 win against Juventus. At the time of recording, Dortmund and Monterrey going head to head. What are your thoughts so far on the Club World Cup, Carson? We got our thoughts from me and Josh last week, but I want to get your take on this tournament as well.
I at first I kind of had like mixed feelings about it, but I've kind of warmed up to the idea of it a little bit, just because it's like going to be like it's like an every 4 years type tournament. So I mean, that's kind of I like the idea of that, but at the same time, I don't know, kind of just like it feels to me it's like another, obviously it's like a cash grab tournament.
Yeah.
But I mean, who doesn't want $1 billion? You know what I'm saying? But also you got to think about players. They starting players for their teams play about 40, 50 games now. That's including club, and then they do like all those domestic tournaments, and then all like Champions League, and then they play for their country. And so they're getting like lots of miles on their legs, and then they go into the Club World Cup, and that's just even more games. But I mean, we haven't seen like any really major injuries in the Club World Cup, and so that's a plus. But the one thing I really enjoy about it though is the Brazil teams.
Oh yeah.
The Brazil teams are competing, and I mean I'm not surprised at all. They are competing with the top teams in the world, and I think that's what the Club World Cup is meant for.
Yeah.
We're getting these teams around the world to show themselves on the biggest stage. Like Al Hilal just beat Man City last night in extra time.
What a
like
win.
no one would have thought that would happen like 2 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
what a freaking win.
yeah, but it's going good. I mean, I think as the knockouts get further and further in, I think the play is just going to be better. But I mean, I kind of been enjoying it because you can't complain about soccer. But from a player standpoint, I think it's a little unnecessary in a way, and I just like I once again we're not seeing injuries, and so that's a good thing. But also, it just feels like every year FIFA is just coming up with more and more cash grab money, and I think players like safety and health needs to be put out there and concerned for a little bit because after the Club World Cup, players in Europe are going to get like a month's rest.
Yes. Yep. And that's exactly what I'm going to be looking at. Like we talked about it last week with Josh, and we kind of said the same thing as you. We're interested because of the format. We're interested because it's something new. I love the idea of the Club World Cup, but now for teams like Chelsea, who are still in it, for PSG, who just came off winning a Champions League, and now they're still fighting in this tournament, for Real Madrid, for the Bayern Munichs, right? I'm curious to see what impact it has on them as they get now into the actual season, right? Because now you have 2 weeks off before you have to turn it around and start focusing on your preseason friendlies. So really, there's teams like Real Madrid, teams like Chelsea, all these sides who kind of made it into this Club World Cup. Their off season has just decreased dramatically, right? Instead of getting your month and a half off, now you're quickly turning it around after playing in yet another tournament, and quickly transitioning now into your next season. So I'm curious to see what type of impact it'll have on Real Madrid's season, what type of impact it'll have on, Juventus' season, Chelsea's season, all these teams, and see how they quickly turned around from this tournament into now, then focusing on the new year.
Yeah, and I can kind of add one more thing though is if you keep up with the soccer world, Jude Bellingham's been wearing that like shoulder brace for like over a year now, and it's because his shoulder is injured and he's been playing through it, and so he played all last season through it, and then he was planning on getting surgery this off season, but then he's like, no, you know what, I'll play in the Club World Cup, and wait, surgery. So now he's playing in the Club World Cup, and they're still in, and then preseason is like 2 weeks away after this Club World Cup ends, and so he's gonna get surgery after the Club World Cup, but now he's gonna miss like probably like 3 months of the regular season for Real Madrid. So that's a crucial player for Madrid who scores crucial goals at times when no one's like scoring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And so I can see that impacting Real Madrid. You know what I'm saying? But
I agree.
it's just like, see, that's why the offseason is so important, is because players need to rest. They need to get surgery for injuries that, I mean, they play through, but like an injury like that needs to be done as soon as possible. And like, I don't know, I just feel bad for Jude Bellingham for that, you know, but obviously it's his choice.
Of all the teams left, Fluminense from Brazil, Al Hilal, Palmeiras, Chelsea, PSG, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and Borussia Dortmund / Monterrey, depending on who advances there. Of all the teams left, who do you got? Who's winning it?
Who do I want to win it? Palmeiras.
Palmeiras?
Yeah, I really like Richard Rios from Colombia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, I would do anything to watch them beat Chelsea. That would be awesome. Who do I think is going to win it, though? Honestly, I probably PSG. I mean, PSG or Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich's looking so good right now as well. And PSG, you know, obviously the best team in the world right now. But who do I want to win it? Palmeiras. Who I think is going to win it? PSG or Bayern Munich.
There you go.
Yeah.
I agree. I think whoever wins it out of that side of the bracket. So on the same side of the bracket, you have PSG, Bayern, Real Madrid, and then you have Borussia Dortmund, Monterrey. Whoever wins out of that one, that's a really tough side of the bracket. If Chelsea's able to run the table, they got a good chance of making the final, right? If you beat Palmeiras, I think you can beat Al Hilal and Fluminense. We'll see. But Chelsea's got a pretty easy path.
Yeah.
So I think whoever wins out of the PSG, the Bayern, the Real Madrid, and the Borussia Dortmund / Monterrey, whoever wins that side of the bracket, I think will win the tournament.
Yeah. And like Chelsea's like they're doing good for like how they haven't been great for the past couple seasons.
Yeah.
But I feel like they've kind of had a little bit easier. They've turned a corner, but they've kind of had like an easier route for the Club World Cup, and so it should be interesting to see them play a South American team like Palmeiras and see how they adjust to that, because they're a good young team. I'll give them that.
All right, MLS. Let's transition. Major League Soccer. Couple big news happening around the league. First and foremost, the All-Star voting has been completed and the All-Star teams are out. And I think this edition and this roster of the MLS All-Stars, it's kind of it's just taking it away from me. And what I mean by that is just like, I'm at the point where the All-Star game is nothing more than a beauty pageant. It's nothing more than a popularity contest. And I'm kind of over it at this point. Yeah. There's a couple of guys that I think should have made it. For example, Christian Espinoza. Christian Espinoza not being on the All-Star roster is a travesty. It's a crime. I think there's a couple of players on there that I think should have been on there, but they're not, obviously, because they didn't get the votes. But at this point, it's a popularity contest, and it's interesting to see some of the guys called up. However, someone who does deserve it, Diego Luna, he makes the All-Star roster again. Back-to-back All-Star rosters for the Real Salt Lake men, and he gets to join the likes of Lionel Messi. He gets to join the likes of Denny Boanga, David Da Costa, Jordi Alba, and many others as they take on the Liga MX All-Stars in this year's edition of MLS All-Stars.
Yeah, I mean, Diego Luna, obviously, RSL is not doing the best this season, but if there's a guy that stands out stats-wise, and if you watch as well, Diego Luna stands out every game that he's playing for RSL. And not even arguably, he is the best under 20 player in the league and best young player in the league, and he deserves to be there. So no argument from me there.
Interesting to see Brandon Vasquez get the nod. I don't know what he did or what he's done to deserve the nod, but hey, I guess if the fans voted him in, they voted him in for a reason.
All marketing right there. He's the
What that reason is, I
uh,
still don't know, but
he's like, bro, he
Brandon
has like
Vasquez
four
made it.
goals. He has like 4 goals this season. Like he
Yeah,
hasn't even hit double digits for a guy like Brandon Vasquez. Like we've seen him in the MLS before, score goals left and right. He's sucked this year for Austin FC, and especially for the amount of money they brought him in as well. And he shouldn't be an all-star as well, and so that's why it's like popularity contest.
exactly.
Yeah.
Brandon Vasquez, MLS All Star, 2025. The secondary transfer window. Hey, it's the month of July. So on Thursday, July 24th, the secondary window will open in Major League Soccer. That is when teams and people can register their new signings. So it's that time of the year, Carson. It's that time of the year for rumors to start heating up. It's hopefully time for Real Lake to start making necessary changes to improve this roster, because Thursday, July 24th, that is when the transfer window opens, and it will stay open until Thursday, August 21st. Just something to keep an eye on as we continue to move on through the months of summer. July is the time we'll hopefully start hearing some rumblings soon.
Yeah, I was like, I think about is last July how everything just went to crap after in July. So hopefully this July everything goes up from here. You know?
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Other news that I want to hit on real quick: Toronto releasing Bernadeschi and Insigne on the same day. It was about time.
Yeah.
They're, I think, a year too late on that, but
I mean,
for Toronto fans, the nightmare is over. Insigne is gone, and now Toronto has 2 DP spots open that they can hopefully use. So,
yeah. Unfortunately for them, the Italian project didn't really work out like it did with Giovinco, and I mean, arguably, Bernadeschi and Insigne overall are better players than Giovinco. But in the MLS, no, they are not. And so,
I think Bernadeschi did some good things.
okay, Barandeshki did. Yeah, he did some good things. Insigne, for a
But
player like Insigne, he didn't do crap. Yeah,
Insigne was a flop,
yeah.
and will probably go down as one of the worst signings in MLS history.
I'm surprised he's not
For
surprised he
sure.
didn't get voted into the All Star. So
I think he did his first year.
yeah,
I don't
he
know.
did. Yeah,
I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong, because I don't even remember what happened yesterday.
yeah.
But I could be 1,000% wrong. But I think he might have made a roster when he first
I remember
joined.
last year Barandeshki did,
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't think Insigne did, but maybe the
definitely
year
not last
before
year.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely not last year. Fidel Barajas, man, I feel kind of bad for him.
yeah. I don't know. Barajas' situation is a very interesting one. What I can say about it is, he went to Chivas. He made it very well known that in RSL wanted to cash in on Barajas, and Barajas wanted to go to Chivas. And then he goes to Chivas, and he's not playing very much. And I can't say, this is just what I've been told, is he wanted more minutes. He requested a loan, got sent down to the under-23 team for requesting a loan, but then he got a loan at DC United. And I mean, obviously, I don't really know how his loan at DC United has been, but it just got over.
He hasn't got much playing time.
It just got over, and so now he's back at Chivas, and Chivas want to sell him.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I'm RSL, I bring him back. I say, hey, here's $2 million. We'll cut you guys a price. Give us back, or even maybe like $800K or something like that. Be like, hey, you guys don't want him. You guys obviously don't want him. Here's somewhat money. Can bring him in, young winger, and then get that DP out of here, and then let Barajas play that left wing spot, and I'll be fine.
If there's any interest, if there's any like serious interest from Real Lake to go back and get Fidel Barajas, I would think even $2 million is a little bit too much. I
Yeah,
think you would try to negotiate. You try to negotiate that to the least amount of money that you
yeah,
possibly can, so you can still cash in on that 4 million. You know that you
yeah,
swindled at Chivas a year and a half or a year ago. Yeah, a year
yeah,
ago. After letting him go to Chivas, but I mean, if you can like steal him back for less than 1 million, I think you absolutely take it.
yeah. Considering that Chivas doesn't want him,
Yeah,
I think they seem desperate to. I don't know if they're desperate to get rid of him, but even like a loan to buy would probably be good as well.
I think for him, you have to be desperate to
Yeah,
get out. You have to be desperate to get out of there.
yeah. Hopefully his agent hopefully is pulling some strings, because I feel bad for the kid. I mean, he was at one point one of like the I would say like from a year ago today, he was higher up than Xavier Gozo.
I
And
would probably agree. Yeah, I would agree with that.
then now Xavier Gozo was like jumped him a lot.
He reminds me a lot of like the way that he played and just kind of what I saw from him. Like he reminded me of a really young Carlos Vela, and
Yes, yeah.
he has like the ability and I think the ceiling to get to that level. I think he just needs to find a home.
Yeah, he just needs playing time. Simple. A young
Yeah,
kid needs playing time to prove himself, and
I
Chivas
agree.
isn't giving him that. So
Yeah, we'll see. But I do feel bad for him and his current situation,
yeah,
and we'll see, man. I hope nothing but the best for him. And if like I said, if Rousley wants him back and thinks that they can, do something for him here, I think if you can get him for less than 1 million, I think that's an offer you should take. But we'll see.
yep.
We'll see what happens. Uh, Real Lake Sporting Kansas City. Let's jump into the starting lineup. Rafa Cabral in goal. Noel Caliscan at the right back position, Justin Glad. Sam Junca gets the start. Alex Catranis. In the midfield, you have Ruiz and Nelson Palacio. Sitting at the 10 underneath is Xavier Gozo. On the right, Johnny Russell. On the left, Diogo Gonçalves. And up top, number 9, Willie Agata. No Brian Vera in this one because Brian Vera was out with he had to sit this one with illness. And then no Brian Ojeda because Brian Ojeda was still out in Paraguay doing his green card processes, which, by the way, he was out against DC. That was 2 weeks ago. It's taken a while for him to get his processes. But
Interesting.
I get it. There's a lot happening in the world, and so I
Yeah,
understand. But I still feel like that's a ridiculous amount of time. Nevertheless, Pablo Ruiz, Nelson Palacio in that midfield. Sam Junca steps up for Brian Vera, but other than that, it's been a consistent starting 11 for Real Salt Lake now, with the only change from that DC game being Sam Junca.
yeah. First thing that stands out to me with that starting 11 is that midfield, and I think of Nelson Palacio and Pablo Ruiz, and I think we have no defensive midfielder. Like those guys are both they're both get up in the attack and play that ball in to help attack, but I don't. Neither of them are good defenders,
Yes.
and so yeah, I mean Emeka Nelly and being hurt, and then Ojeda having green card stuff as well. That's gonna be a worse time right now.
Yes. I don't mind the midfield, with Nelson Palacio and Ruiz in it. I do think though that you kind of have to, if you're going to start Ruiz, you do need some type of defensive anchor, whether that be Anelli, whether that be Ojeda. You do need more of a defensive presence because Ruiz does have the tendency of getting up a little bit more and trying to create a little bit more, which is totally fine as long as you can cover the other pivot with a guy who's a defensive anchor. I don't necessarily think you get that with Nelson Palacio, unfortunately. Other than that, that's kind of where. And that's kind of the best that you can put out for Real like right now, considering who's out, who's injured. It's a good lineup. I don't mind this lineup. I don't hate this lineup. Besides maybe, obviously you're missing Diego Luna, and I think Luna can help out this lineup a lot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean Luna can help us literally anywhere, but I mean Caliscan's been holding it down at right back, and so I won't complain about him there. Junqua has kind of grown on me a little bit as well. I mean, he steps up when he needs to, and I like a guy that can play multiple positions. And so, like, got no problem with Junqua. Katrana's still doing his thing, but yeah, it's really Gozo is freaking. I can say so many things about Gozo right now. That kid's a stud, but yeah,
Goza's been awesome. Goza's been probably the brightest spot of this season for Real. So, like, I know Luna has 8 goals and 2 assists or whatever it is, and he's the top scorer right now. But for me, the bright spot and the best player has been Xavier Gozo, which is kind of crazy to say considering he's 18 and he just barely made his way into the starting lineup. But he's earned it, man.
yeah,
He's
a workhorse.
1,000% earned it. As far as Rouse Lake and the way that this game went, quite an uneventful first half. There was a couple of good attacks for Real Lake. There was a shot from distance, like just outside the box from Alex Katranic, that he shot right at Pulse Camp. There was a couple good buildups and a couple good opportunities from Xavier Gozo in that first half. Even Sporting Kansas City had a couple of good opportunities, but really the not much sticks out to me from the first 45 minutes of that first half.
Yeah, there's really not much to say about the first half, and it was kind of dead, and you're just waiting for either team to kind of pull the trigger on goal and create a chance. But it's a very stalemate game in the first half from two teams that have been struggling this year.
Yeah. I will say I like the link-up play between Gozo and Russell.
Yeah.
In that first half, I do think that there was some nice interchange and some good playing between those two in that first half. Gozo he was sitting underneath, so he was in the middle, and he would lay off a pass to Russell, and then Gozo would overlap and start running up the wing while Russell tucked in, and Russell became kind of a little bit more of a creator for Real Salt Lake, and I loved the interchange and the interlap. I mean, it's similar to what you see with Gozo and Luna when they're together on the pitch, but it was nice to see now Johnny Russell also kind of take over that role and try to help Real Lake in the attack. I thought him and Gozo, despite not being teammates for too long, I thought that they were already on a really good same page and a really good same wavelength, and that was fun to watch in the first half. But it didn't really create too many dangerous opportunities for RSL in that first half.
Yeah, and obviously they haven't been played for very long, but Gozo's still a young up and coming player, and Russell is a veteran.
Yeah,
and I bet you Russell has probably gone out of his way to take Gozo under his wing and teach him a little bit about what he knows.
Yeah.
And you can see that on the field. They already seem like they have some type of chemistry going as well, and that's something you want to see. That's why you bring in a guy like Johnny Russell, someone who has experience and can teach the younger guys how to play this game in the MLS. And I'm glad that's at least working out for RSL.
We have to do it every game. Every time we're else play. We got to do this every game. Diogo watch. How'd you feel about Diogo Gonçalves' performance in this one against Sporting Kansas City? Specifically, let's stick with the first half.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not trying to obviously this is going to sound like a little rude, but I'm just so disappointed and tired of seeing him on the pitch. I just don't even look at him anymore. And that's just me being honest and saying it. I just don't think we need to get rid of him. And I might be a little aggressive, but obviously he came here to play with Chicho, and Chicho's been gone for a while now, and Diogo hasn't really still hasn't done anything to prove his worth to us at RSL, and I've kind of given up that he's gonna do anything, so I don't even bat an eye to him.
He's one of the guys that I have an eye on him throughout the entire game for obvious reasons, because I want to see if he truly is tracking back and getting into the getting into the press and being a good player for Real Salt Lake, but didn't really see that from him too much in the first half. I thought anytime that he would get the ball, he would make he would try to get a ball into the attack and to try to create, which I appreciate. But again, just I think Rouse Lake as a whole just wasn't doing too much to really create threatening opportunities. He would track back every once in a while, and again, just he's just there. He's a body.
Yeah.
He was there,
Yeah, it's like it's his situation at the club is really weird right now, and I just think people within the club and even like us fans, it's like he starts to like come back a little bit, and then there's always like a little bit more drama. It just feels like he's just having drama, and it's just not getting better for him, and then especially his play on the field, and then training. I mean, it's obviously this isn't working out, and I just think the best thing to do is move on from him. I mean, he's saying this now. Watch him score a goal on Saturday, and then everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, you're wrong." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Do it again next game."
No, me and Josh talked about it last week, and we were talking because last game he actually had an assist. He actually contributed against DC United, and so me and Josh talked about it, and we were talking about what was it gonna take for us to finally feel comfortable about actually like being okay with, Diogo actually, thinking that he's bought in and thinking that he has the right attitude to be with Real Lake. And I said, hey, look, if he can put together 5 games of consistent performances where he's actually like pinging in passes in behind the defense like he did against DC and creating those type of opportunities, then I would be a little bit more sold. I would be a little bit more okay. But in this game, he kind of regressed to the mean. He kind of went back to what we've seen from Diogo.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, whatever 5-game ticker we had, it's time to reset it.
Yeah, it's for me, the standard right now is Gozo. It's Luna. Tracking back.
I would agree, yeah.
Working your butt off for the badge, And like Gozo is a great standard to have because that dude is constantly tracking back and getting an attack every time. And he I think at one point he even like he wins the ball back pretty consistently as well. He's not bad at defending either. And that should be the standard right now for a winger at RSL. Tracking back, getting the attack. And like what's Gozo doing differently in training than Gonçalves is? You guys are training with each other every day. I don't care how fast Gozo is. Stuff at least showing passion and looking like you want to be there goes a long way,
right?
Than being this nonchalant baller that is just there for a paycheck. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Speaking of Gozo does a phenomenal job to hold up a ball inside the box in the 46th minute. Catranis comes in, joining the attack. He lays it off to Alex. Alex floats one into the back post where he finds, of course, who else but Johnny Russell. And Johnny Russell puts it into the back of the net with his head, and it's RSL up 1-0 right before the halftime break. Lot of respect earned for Johnny Russell. No celebration. Calmly, coolly walks over to the corner flag, doesn't celebrate the goal, and Real Lake's up 1-0. Love the hold-up play from Gozo. Beautiful cross from Catranis. Johnny Russell does what Johnny Russell does. Scores against his former team, and RSL's up 1-0 on the road. I loved everything about this goal, man.
Yeah. Perfect. Catranis put that ball on a platter for Russell to head that in. And, I mean, for a guy Russell's age, putting his body on the line like that, awesome. Like, so much respect for that. And that was an awesome goal, just the way he powered that header in. No mercy at all.
2 starts, 2 goals for Johnny Russell. I know we gave him, I know we talked some crap when this signing was made. But he's come in and he's shown that, look, he still has some gas left on the tank. He's still playing at a football at a good level, and that's what you want, right? Especially from a free agent, especially from a guy who came in on a free deal. He's come in and he's contributing. He has his 2 goals. He's looked very well in starts, and like we mentioned earlier, the play with him in Gozo has already looked really, really well. And so, like Josh says, we like it when we're wrong. And Johnny Russell has been so far a good addition for this side.
Yeah, he has. I mean, I'm not going to disagree at all. I mean, I've already spoken pretty highly of him with Gozo, and I mean, as long as he keeps just doing his thing, creating and scoring goals like he does, I'm not going to have a problem with him. He's a stud.
Second half, Carson, things get a little bit chippy. Things get a little bit physical. Got some yellow cards flying out. Got some players putting in some challenges. Things get a little chippy. Things get a little physical. And as it should. Josh and I talked about it last week. Something needed to happen to kind of reignite the rivalry because I wasn't feeling it with Sporting Kansas City anymore, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling the rivalry.
Likewise.
In recent games. And so it was nice to see that there's still some animosity there. It was nice to see that there's still some chippiness there. And that second half got really physical. Sporting Kansas City players already had 3 yellow cards in that first half. A fourth one is issued early in the second half for a Sporting Kansas City player. Moments later, Nelson Palacio gets in on the action with his yellow card, and then from there, it seemed like things got really, really chippy between the two sides.
Hey, and that's how a rivalry should be, Yeah. I feel like that rivalry has died down a lot over the past couple years, and it's nice to have that back a little bit. I just need that rivalry with Portland to kind of come back a little bit as well, and then we're good. I mean, we always will hate the Rapids. I mean, no matter how much they suck or we suck, we'll always hate each other. But it's sometimes KC just disappears, and we're like, hello, you guys forget you're supposed to be one of the best teams in the league, and every time we play each other, it's supposed to be a great battle, and we're supposed to see some physicalness going off, and same thing with Portland as well.
I enjoyed the chippiness between the two sides. One thing I didn't like about this game was the defending on Sporting Kansas City's equalizer. First things first, Nelson Palacios caught out of position. That should have been Palacios' guy to mark. There should have been a little bit better bit of communication between. Oh man, who is that? That's Gozo. A little bit more better communication between Gozo on who was going to track that run from Eric Tommy, right? Because once Tommy runs inside, Gozo has to make a decision of I'm going to let this guy go to let Palacio kind of take him, or Palacio needs to be vocal and says, hey, I don't have him. I'm still marking this guy in front of me. You have to come in and tuck it inside with Tommy. Probably a little bit better communication there. And I mean, I get it. He's young. He's 18. But from a guy like Nelson Palacio, who has a little bit more experience, I anticipate and expect a little bit better from him. Same thing with Noel Caliscan. I feel like Noel Caliscan got a little bit lost on his marking there. Not the best defending for Real Salt, and it leads to Eric Tommy putting a ball into the back of the net. Off a deflection, but still, Sporting Kansas tied up 1-1.
Yeah, I feel like every year we have a couple games like this where everyone gets lost and loses their man. And I mean, I feel like I'm not seeing change, even I know McMath is not in goal, but it's when are we going to figure out the marking? I mean, but I can give Gozo some, I can be okay with Gozo, not marking because, he's young. That's expected.
Yeah.
Kind of maybe the same with Caliscan as well. But Palacio, I won't really sympathize with that. He's been around for a little bit now, and there should be no excuse to not be defending for your team. And it just feels like same conversation every week where it's someone's not marking.
Yeah.
And again, I'll sympathize with Gozo and Caliscan, but at the end of the day, it's Palacio, you're pretty much one of the longer tenured players on the team now. You need to do better. Even with Ojeda and Anelli out, if this is your time to prove yourself, and you're not doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric Tommy ties it up 1-1. Nelson Palacio. I thought up to this point, Nelson was having a pretty rough game.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple minutes after the equalizer, there's a ball that's loose just outside the 18. Palacio just absolutely whiffs it. Tries to clear the ball, but tries to skyrocket it out, but doesn't hit the ball, and the ball is just loose there in front of him and the defender, and the attacker. The Sporting Kansas City player is able to get onto the end of it and has a clean shot at Cabral. I think that's Tommy again, actually. Yeah, it was Eric Tommy. Tommy takes the shot, but Cabral's there with the save, and man, oh man, if that would have gone in, yikes.
Like we don't have any other like midfielders right now. Like we need Palacio to step up. Otherwise, it's like I guarantee you, Griffin Dillon could step up for us if needed. But again, it's like the MLS Next and MLS rules are weird, and I hate them. How you can't just be passing players back and forth. But Palacio, we've seen his potential. It's just, when is he going to realize his potential?
I'm afraid we're at the point with Nelson Palacio where I think he's just going to perpetually be stuck as a bench rotation player.
Yeah.
Unless he takes like a massive step in his game, right? I don't see him jumping the depth chart over Pablo Ruiz. I don't see him jumping the depth chart over Ojeda or a Mecanelli at that, for that matter. I don't know what. He came in, he's a young guy, he has potential, but I haven't seen him really take any like true steps in his development since joining Real Salt Lake.
I think his situation is interesting because I think the thought was he was going to come in and start right away, but then the uprising of a Mecanelli happened. And Anelli just took that from him quick.
Yeah.
And I think Palacio still hasn't figured out what to do with that competition, And whether it's his playing style, his mentality, he's had over almost 2 full seasons now to kind of figure it out. And
he was signed the same summer as Chicho. So yeah, he's been here 2 years now.
Yeah, and so he's had time to kind of figure it out, but I don't know. I don't think we've heard much about what his situation is like, and so I can't speak too much on it. But he's playing right now, and I really like Nelson Palacio. I'm not going to speak too poorly on him.
Yeah,
but I really want to see him dig in and take advantage of this playing time he has right now and prove his worth.
I agree. Couple minutes, about 10 minutes later, Rouse Lake's on the attack, and there's a ball played out wide. It's crossed into the box, and then Diogo Gonçalves, a bicycle overhead kick, tries to put it past Pulskamp, but kicks it right at Pulskamp. And look, it wasn't the best attempt, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Because that's the most effort I've seen from him. That's the most effort he's shown, and probably all season for me.
Yeah, I mean, I will never diss a player for trying a bicycle kick. You know how much it takes a lot of athleticism.
Yeah,
and I guess Diogo thought he was Ronaldo for a second, CR7, and I mean he made contact, but it just didn't go in.
No, I don't hate it.
Imagine if it goes in though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's if it went in, the Diogo conversation we had earlier in the show probably wouldn't happen. I would have been screaming for us to re-sign him. Sign him on a long-term contract extension, whatever the case, right? If that would have gone in. Again, I don't hate the effort. I don't. Yeah, I thought it was good. Unfortunate that it went right to Pulskamp, but I do not like that from Diogo.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a couple minutes later, Xavier Gozo has a perfect opportunity to put Rouse Lake ahead. But John Polskamp comes up with a huge save for Sporting Kansas City. And then a red card is shown for Sporting Kansas City, as Davis is sent off after a challenge on Nelson Palacio. Rouse Lake up to 10, up an extra man. Sporting Kansas City reduced to 10 for the remainder of this one. And I felt like Rouse Lake did some good to try to take advantage of that opportunity. I felt like they did good on trying to create some chances and create some opportunities. I thought Gozo had a couple of other good ones that went later on in this one. And I thought Rouse Lake did a good job of trying to take advantage of the extra man.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they tried their best to get another goal in there, and with being up a man, but at the end of the day, we didn't get there, and so it's really hard to be like, hey, like good try, but also at the same time, we didn't really take advantage of it.
Yes. Dominic Marchuk subbed in. He had a couple of good balls where he was, up the wing, played it centrally to Gozo. Gozo takes a shot. Polskamp comes up big with the save. While all this is happening, by the way, Gozo is getting chippy and saying some things to the Sporting Kansas City defenders, and then teams kind of meet up for there for a little bit, and Xavier Gozo showing a different side of him, a spicier side of him in this one against Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, as calm of a kid as Gozo is, I mean, I feel like it takes a lot to kind of break him. That's what the kind of person he gives, like the vibe he gives off.
Yeah,
and it takes but a person like that, it can take 2-3 challenges, and then they're tired of it, and they're gonna start chipping at you and be like, hey, cut it out, and then they start hating your teammates, and that's gonna make you even more mad as well. And so, rivalry looks like it's back on, and looks like the Gozo's realizing it, and I love it. I love it.
That's a Utah native who grew up hating Sporting Kansas City.
Yes.
And and now he's playing against Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah.
So that I appreciate. I will say the biggest knock I have on Xavier Gozo in this game, and I just remember this while we're having this conversation. Earlier in the second half, Real Lake's on a counterattack. They have the numbers. They have a good opportunity to get in behind and see if they can try to score a goal. But Xavier Gozo's clipped from behind. The referee plays the advantage, and Gozo takes a swing at not like a punch swing, but kicks his leg out to try to retaliate. And I thought, Gozo got a little bit lucky on that one, man.
Yeah.
I thought Gozo got a little bit lucky there, and I think, as an 18-year-old, it's a learning experience, right? Your team's on the attack. You just got the advantage played. You cannot retaliate in that situation, right? You messed up a perfect opportunity for Rouse Lake to get in behind and try to find their goal. And it looked like Rouse Lake were going to get that goal, right? They had, like I said, they had the numbers. They had a good attack going. But Gozo retaliates, and the ref has to pull the play back and show him a yellow card. Perfect learning experience for an 18-year-old, though. You cannot do that.
Yeah. And, he'll probably, that's, the first time we've seen him, get out of, an unnecessary card. So, I mean, I'm not going to bash him for it, but that's a good learning experience. And everything he does right now is just going to be a learning experience for him in his career. So get it out now while you can.
96th minute, man. 96th minute. Dominic Marchuk plays a ball to Gozo. Gozo cuts inside. He's in the box, puts it on his left, takes the shot. It looks like he has the winner, but then Jansen Miller for SKC with a goal line clearance to deny Real Lake a late winner in Kansas City. Heartbreaking, devastating, but man, oh man, would that been absolutely phenomenal for Gozo to score there.
Yeah,
Real had their chances, they had their opportunities, but they couldn't get it done, man.
Hey, I it was like Gozo seemed like he was kind of having a little bit of unlucky game, but he still played good. But look, he sooner or later he's gonna be bagging those, and he's not gonna stop. And so I'm excited to see what happens. But look, he's probably gonna get that opportunity again, and he's gonna score it. So I'm not too worried about it. But still, would have been nice to have all the 3 points. Yeah, of course. But you know, that's a you can't really do much about a goal line clearance save. Like that's a great play by the defender to save that. So
You ever seen Impractical Jokers?
yes, sir.
You know Murr from Impractical Jokers?
Yeah.
Why did Jansen Miller? Why did Murr from Impractical Jokers deny Rouse Lake the winner, man? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, when did the dude he became a professional soccer player? Just like
Apparently.
I guess that's the episode right there is becoming a soccer
punishment.
player for a day. Yeah.
That's the punishment for the
Right.
challenge.
Now make this goal line clearance save and call it good.
Oh man. I saw a couple of comments online calling him Murr from Practical Jokers, and I thought that was hilarious. With that, though, Rayos Lake brings a point back home from Sporting Kansas City, a 1-1 draw at Children's Mercy Park. I'm having a hard time, man. Maybe Carson, maybe you can convince me or sway me one way or another, but I'm having a hard time really putting my finger on taking this up in a positive way or seeing this game in kind of a negative way, because at the end of the day, I thought the performance from Real Lake was better. And you want to see better performances from Real Lake considering how the first half of the season has gone. But I mean, you get the 2-0 win against DC United, and now you have this 1-1 draw against Sporting Kansas City. And I thought that in both of those games, Real Lake showed better than they have been showing for a majority of the season. But at the same time, you're up 1-0 on the road, and you end up losing points from a winning position yet again for Real Salt Lake. And so I'm having a hard time figuring out, is this a positive or a negative result for RSL?
Okay, so obviously the negative is we didn't get 3 points, okay? But you got to think it like this. You don't have your best player in Diego Luna. You don't have Brian Vera. You don't have Ojeda, and you don't have Emeka Nelly. Obviously with those guys, I would be pretty confident that we would come away with 3 points. But to come away with a 1 point with the squad we started, and also off an away game with a long season like the season is in the summer, that's a positive to at least bring home a point, and also build off from that win with DC United. So those 2 games right there, positives, And then another positive is, I already said it's an away game, so we came with like that. And so honestly, I'm not stressing too much about this game. We don't have all of our best players, and we still get a point from Kansas City. Obviously, you want 3 points though. You know what I'm saying? That squad definitely probably could have gotten 3 points, considering how bad Sporting KC has been this season. And honestly, Sporting KC probably could have gotten 3 points from us as well. And so I see it more as a positive for us to get at least a point.
I think the chances and the opportunities were there for RSL to potentially take all 3. And of course, like I said, they were up going into the halftime break. And so it is disappointing losing 3 points from that point of view, from, you're being up again, Real Lake having a hard time holding leads, and they lose 3 points in Sporting Kansas City, but it is on the road. You'll take a point on the road any day of the week, but it does sting a little bit when those chances were there for you to take all 3. With that though, Real Lake now in 13th place in the Western Conference, 5 wins, 4 draws, 10 losses, 19 points on the season. They have officially been leapfrogged by Sporting Kansas City, but they do have a game in hand because Real Lake did not play Wednesday night due to LAFC's participation in the Club World Cup. So you do have a game in hand, but you do fall a place on the table now. You're sitting in 13th. A big game against St. Louis coming up this weekend. This is a St. Louis side who is in 14th place under Real Salt Lake with 15 points. And me and Josh were talking a little bit about it, Carson, where this stretch of games is super important for Real Salt Lake because you're taking on teams that theoretically are on the lower part of the table and are also having their struggles this season. You get the win against DC United 2-0. You now get the draw 1-1 against Sporting Kansas City. You have a game coming up against St. Louis and a game coming up against Houston. And in this stretch, we were talking about how if you have a good stretch, you're on the playoff line. You're right there. But if you have a bad stretch, you're looking at 14th place on the table. And it's a lot easier to stick around in the playoff race when you're sitting in 9th, 10th place than when you're sitting in 14th place. So how important is this game against St. Louis?
Very, very important, I think, in the next couple stretch of games. Obviously, it's the 4th of July game, so it's most likely going to be a sold-out game no matter what. Lots of fans are going to show up. Obviously, the fireworks are going to be there. The atmosphere is going to be probably booming. And so hopefully with sold out crowd and all that, it motivates the players to get that result. But noticeably, though, St. Louis is really bad this season, and there should be no excuse coming away from this game at home with 3 points.
St. Louis City currently sitting in 14th place in Major League Soccer, 20 games played, 3 wins, 6 draws, 11 losses, 19 goals scored on the season, 31 goals against, 15 points on the year. Their last couple of games had a 2-1 loss to the Portland Timbers, had a 3-3 draw against LA Galaxy, lost 4-2 to Orlando at the midweek, and then lost on Saturday to Houston, a 0-0. They now take on Real Salt Lake at America First Field. And we've been talking about it all season long, Carson. There's some must-win games coming up for Real Salt Lake, and again, this feels like a must-win for RSL. You have to get the full 3 here, not only because it's a team that's right at your heels on the table, that's trying to, climb out of the basement of the league of the Western Conference and leapfrog you on the table, but also because your performances at home haven't been the best this season, and what better chance to get back on track than to get a 2-0 against DC and then hopefully get a win against St. Louis.
Yeah, no better way to win over the fans right now than this Saturday. Everyone loves the 4th of July game, so it's up to the team now. Go out there and get the win.
Any predictions? Any thoughts on how this one will end for Real Salt Lake on Saturday?
I'm just going to be straight up and say 3-0.
For RSL?
Yeah.
Oh, how many? Who gets the goals?
I'm going to say Agata gets in on the action.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to say Agata brace, and then let's say Caliscan gets in on the action. I'd like to see a Caliscan goal.
Okay.
So, hey, heard it here. Let's see what happens.
3-0 win for RSL. I'm gonna go with the simple 1-0 win for Real Salt Lake.
Hey, that's still 3 points is 3 points.
I'm gonna go with the simple 1-0 win for RSL. They're able to hold the clean sheet, which I think clean sheets are also needed right now for RSL. They'll hold the clean sheet, and we'll have Johnny Russell, who scores his 3rd goal in 3 matches.
Yes.
How about that?
I wouldn't mind that either. That's just as good as a 3-0 win. So I'm down. Johnny Russell goal at home. Can't complain.
Those are our predictions. Hopefully they come true. I meant to ask Josh what his prediction was prior to us starting, but I totally forgot. So no prediction from Josh this week, unfortunately. But nevertheless, Real Salt Lake taking on St. Louis at home on Saturday. 7:30 p.m. Like Carson said, it is the 4th of July game. There will be fireworks after the match. So get your tickets now. Get your tickets today. Be there. Go support the boys this Saturday, 7:30 at America First Field. Carson, anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap this one up, man?
No, I'm really excited to have some games back at home. And yeah, it just feels like it's been forever. And I'm excited to be in the atmosphere and see everyone there. And yeah, I mean, Alex, you and Josh are going to be there. So if you guys see us walking around, don't feel afraid to say hi. I know it's hard to recognize us from our profile pictures on social media sometimes, but they all know what you and Josh look like. But I'm just trying to meet everyone I can. So
There you go.
don't be afraid to say hi.
There you go. If you see Josh, yeah, absolutely. If you see Josh, me, or Carson, stop us. Say hi.
Yeah.
We love interacting with you guys. We do this for you at the end of the day, and we love being able to get to know every single one of you guys. So be there Saturday, July 5th. Real Salt Lake taking on St. Louis. We'll be there. We hope to see you there. And that's going to do it for us here on the RSL Show. Don't forget to go like. Don't forget to go subscribe. Don't forget to go do what you have to do to follow the RSL Show for the best RSL content. And we'll talk to you guys next week following this St. Louis City game.